My name is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and this is one of the first things that I made when I learned how to do single crochet. It is such an easy pattern. Once you get started, you're going to start making tons of these. This pattern is actually made in a round, and you continue to go in a circle around and around, and then when that round meets each other, you're going to sew one seam across the back. It is so easy to make. To start this pattern, you're going to want 100% cotton, and these are peaches and cream. I got those at Walmart, and you do not want acrylic. Acrylic will melt when you put something hot on it, so this is 100% cotton. On the back, you will see it is size 4, which is medium, and they are recommending an H hook, which is what I'm using today. H or number 8, which is 5 millimeter. The pattern itself uses only one stitch, and that is single crochet. So this is an excellent way to learn how to use the single crochet and to create something that is useful and fantastic. As I said, it is double thick. That's because you have 2 thicknesses. You have the front and the back. And I usually put the one without the seam on the top, but doesn't really matter. When I stitch it together, I will show you how to do it so it is a flat seam. You can obviously use a solid color, a variegated, or a combination, and I am just having a blast finding out different combinations that work well. All right, let's get started. And if you hear a different noise in the background, we have a visitor for the next month or so, and this is Jim's mom's bird. For this pattern, I am going to use black currant, which is actually the purple, and this one is psychedelic. Interesting. I like that it had so many options of colors in it. And honestly, the hardest thing about using this cotton is finding the center. I have a horrible time, and I end up just pulling out a glob, and yep, I think that's going to happen today. So, oh goodness. There we go. That wasn't too bad. All right, and then I just keep on going until I find the beginning. There it is. I'm going to loop this around my finger and go under, over, and twist. That makes that simple knot. Tighten it on up. And the first thing I'm going to do is chain 33. Now, if you don't know how to do a chain, I would suggest going to my very first video, and I will put the link down below. So 33.
Taking the hole, grab the string, make another loop. Right, bringing it to 33 times.
It's a pretty color. And that's a chain of 33. Now I'm going to go to the second loop from the end and put 3 single crochets. So 3, not in the first one, but in the second. So 1, 2, and 3. Put those all in that first loop. Just like that. Now, the rest of these loops on your chain, I'm going to put 1 in each one, and don't do anything to that last one till we get there. So 1 single crochet into each one. Now, if you don't know how to do the single crochet, again, look at that link that I put at the bottom of this one. But basically, you're just going to go into the loop, grab that yarn, and pull it through. So I'll show you another one. And that is really what this entire pot holder is single crochet. So into the next loop, grab it, pull it through. Oh, I'm liking these colors. All right, put 1 in each stitch until you get to the very end, and then just hold on, and I'll tell you what to do in that last one. I have 1 single crochet in each stitch, and I am all the way to that last one. Now, just like the first stitch, we put 3 in it. I'm going to put 3 in this last one. And this is a little tricky because he's kind of tight. Oh, no problem. All right, so 3 stitches into that last one. So 1, 2, and 3. Now, we have just come from this direction. So we started over here. We put 3 in that first one. We went all the way across. We ended up with 3 in that last stitch. Now this is what's different. we're going to turn your project upside down. And you're like, upside down? Now we have 3 in that one. I am going to go to that next stitch and I am going to be crocheting in the other side of the chain. So you're just making a big old oval. So I am going to go in that one and do a single crochet. All right, and now I'm going to go the whole way across doing single crochet. Oh, dropped a stitch. Just like that. All right, so go the whole way across, putting a single crochet in each stitch. Now we started here, we went down, we turned around, and now we're coming back. Now I'm coming to where those original 3 single crochets were. So I am going to look for the double loop because we know it kind of looks like a sideways V. And now it gets super simple. Now it's going to be kind of tight on the ends for a while until you get going. But I put a single crochet in that one. Then I go to the next stitch, put a single crochet, and you want it tight because you want it to curve. And then there was the 3rd single crochet we had put in there. And now we're just going to keep doing that around and around and around. So 1 single crochet in every stitch, go the whole way across, turn it, 1 in each stitch, and go the whole way across. So now you're just determining what kind of pattern you want to do. Now this one's a little bit different because you look at this and you see, well, there's 2 rows, so I want it 4 rows. Let me show you what it looks like on a finished product. All right, so right here was the first row. If you look, these stitches are facing that way and these stitches are facing this way. So this is that beginner row that we started with. So remember that if you're doing like 4 stitches that way, it's actually going to be 8 stitches because you have both sides of it. So just determine how wide you want to make it. There is no right, there is no wrong. Whichever one you want more of. The other thing is you can have a perfect square, or you could literally have one that's about this size. It's up to you, the shape and the size that you do, but I try to get mostly square on them. And I'm going to try 5 rows on each side, so that would actually be 10 rows total. So I'm going to do my 10 rows and then I will be back with you. So just keep going around and around and around till I have 10 rows from top to bottom. All right, I have 10 rows of variegated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as you see, the rows are starting to curve. So they are starting to go upward on the sides. I am going to change the color at this point. I like to change my colors right on a curve. So either that one or this one, but this one is equal. There's 5 stitches that side, 5 stitches that side. So I am going to change colors right on that curve. And I do that by starting my single crochet. And at that point, I am going to cut the tail off. So move that out of the way. So what I have now is a started single crochet. Now I take my purple and make a loop, just like that. And that's what I pull through my stitch. And just pull it tight. Where's my tail? There it is. Pull it tight and tie those 2 ends that I have. So let me set that down. And I'm going to tie those 2 ends. And you want it fairly tight. Now all your loose ends will be on the inside of your pot holder, so you're not going to see it at all. All right, so I have successfully changed the color. Now I just go to the next stitch and I'm only going to be grabbing that purple. Just like that. All right, so continue doing the next color all the way around. Now you don't have to change colors. I could have done this entirely in variegated, or I could do it entirely as one color. But I am going to keep crocheting and see how far we can get on this. All right, as you can see, it is starting to get closer and closer to where those ends meet, and I am going to switch colors back to the multicolored one, And I am at one of the points again. I've moved it over a little so it's more towards the center. And so I am going to start a single crochet, cut my yarn, then make a loop back with the same color I was using. Pull that through and then tie the knot, and that knot is what's going to hold it tight. All right, I have the new yarn attached, and I'm just going to continue where I left off. Now this pattern, as I said, you're just going in circles, so you go around and around, just like that. And when you get to the other side, it's going to look like this. So you're going around, and then it's going to fold inside, and when they meet, you know you are finished. I have finished going around and around the top until I have something that looks like a bag. And this is where you're going to measure here. Take half of that measurement. That's how tall you want it to be. And as you notice, I put my last stitch right in the middle of it. That's because you're going to lift it up and then you're going to turn it and fold it over. That is how you make the pot holder. So it gets folded in half, just like that. Now the stitch that you had in the center is now on the end. And so I measure how much yarn I need by pulling it across and back and over again. And that's about where I cut it off. That's how much I'm going to need to stitch that seam closed. To finish the seam, I'm going to use a yarn needle. Now, a yarn needle has a very large eye so that you can get the yarn into it. And right here, this is that last stitch that I did. I am going to pull that entire yarn through it that I cut off, the one that's really long, just like that. All right, and so that is tied off. What I like to do is rotate this. So I'm going to turn it around so it's facing this way. And the next thing I'm going to do is put the yarn through the needle. Let's see if I can get that on one try. Sometimes they can be hard because, because yarn separates just like that. Try again. If not, I will make it a little bit shorter. All right, I was able to get the yarn onto the needle. To make a flat seam, I am going to look at each of these stitches and take the outside loop and the outside loop, and that is what is going to make it flat. So I'm going to look at that first one, and I'm going to take the outside loop and go across and take the outside loop. So it's going to look like this: outside loop, and then pull the yarn through and make it tight. All right, so from this point on, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go from outside to outside and pull tight. All right, so I'm going to continue to do this outside by outside and pull tight. And I'll meet you right back. And as you can see, that makes a flat seam going across. All right, I have made that seam going across my pot holder. I am now at the end, and I am going to make a simple knot, pull it tight, and then weave it into my pot holder. So make a nice tight knot. And there's one loop. I like to make two. Now with a metal needle, you can give it a good tug. If I was using a plastic, I wouldn't do that. I would probably end up breaking it. All right, so I have a good knot in there, and I am simply going to stick it into the pot holder and come up any place as long as it didn't go through. Give it a tug and cut it off.